Hello, everyone. Welcome to our very first class of. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our very first class of. Got it. Okay. Sorry about that. First class, got to have some problems. So, welcome to our very first class of Open House. And I'm very excited because my very first guest today is Craig Mertens of GraphicsFlow. So without further ado, Craig, how are you?
I am doing well. I am broadcasting from Portland, Oregon. We're up here visiting my two daughters for the next week. I'm actually kind of winding our vacation down. So if you see somebody strolling past me with a cup of coffee, that's just my wife, so don't worry.
Hey, no worries.
All right. Well, thank you so much for having me. This is gonna be a power-packed 45 minutes, and so I'm gonna get right into it. If you're not familiar with GraphicsFlow and kind of the genesis of the company, the company used to be called Digital Art Solutions, and I owned the company up until June of 2019 with my sister, and we sold our company to Inksoft Corporation. And we kept the name around for about a year, or actually about 2 years. And then we developed a whole new way of interacting with graphics called GraphicsFlow. And when we did that, we rebranded the company as GraphicsFlow. So a lot of times people get kind of confused about how the companies are interconnected. But GraphicsFlow is a successor company to Digital Art Solutions. What you're seeing on your screen right now, let's see, hopefully we're seeing screen. So I can do a screen share. And there we go. And here we go. Is GraphicsFlow. And GraphicsFlow is a web app. And so as a result of being a web app, let's see, we're here. We're going to get out of here. We're going to get the never-ending mirror shot there. GraphicsFlow is a way to store graphics, collaborate on graphics, do art approvals, but it's primarily a content delivery system. And what we mean by that, in the old days, what we would do is we would sell graphics collections initially on floppy disks, then on CDs, then on DVDs, then via download. What we do these days is people have a membership, they log into their account, and they're free to download whatever graphics they want. And we have an archive of tens of thousands of graphics, and we're going to use one of those graphics today to do a couple of projects. Actually, we're going to do 2 graphics and do a couple of projects. And we're going to be starting with vector-based design templates. One of the questions that we had earlier in the kind of the pre-chat was, when do I use vectors? When do I use bitmaps? Vectors are composed of lines and objects, and it makes it really easy to rescale them up or down so you don't have any quality loss. Super easy to recolor. And vector graphics are going to be really kind of ideal when you're working with text and design elements, whereas photos would be an example of a raster graphic that's composed of pixels. And we have a lot of associated issues in terms of production when we're working with raster graphics. Primarily, they're not particularly scalable. So if you're starting off with a low resolution image and you make it bigger, it's going to, the defects in the graphic are going to be pronounced. So the kind of the key to raster-based graphics, or also known as bitmaps, is having a high quality image to begin with. And that's not always possible because you know what happens, customers just supply you with garbage artwork and they say, hey, make this beautiful. And so the first thing I want to talk about is kind of this whole concept of art collaboration. We're going to do a family reunion a project here for the first project. And true to form, customers will wait to the last minute to order. They'll go on a website like maybe Custom Ink or do a Google search or Pinterest or Facebook, and they'll find an example of what they're looking for, and then they'll just email it to you as a screen grab and say, hey, make this look beautiful for me. I'm a graphic designer. I've been doing graphic design for over 30 years. I have the capability and the skill set to spend an hour or two, forensically redeveloping a graphic from source artwork that a client gave me. But not everybody has the ability to do that. And so, some of the things that make a graphic interesting are also some of the things that makes it complex for an end user to go in and do these edits and really bring a design to life. And so if you're really honest with yourself, if you're spending 2-3 hours developing a graphic for a small order, if you stamp an hourly rate on your labor, you can actually be losing money on that. And so the ability to kind of steer clients into stock artwork is actually a really, really important thing. And let me show you kind of how we would do that. One of the capabilities of the GraphicsFlow platform is what we call an art portal. And what you're looking at right now is you're looking at my art portal. And the art portal gives the end user, who's your customer, the ability to look through these tens of thousands of graphics and select graphics for customization. And so what I would do if I'm working with a client, I'd say, hey, listen, great. I know you sent me that screen grab from Custom Ink, but I think we could do a lot better. And what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to go to my art portal. And, you know, if you're looking for a specific design for this family reunion, you don't have to pay so much attention to the subject matter. What we're really interested is the style that you're interested. Let us do our job and we'll make that design, you know, speak to your particular event and your color theme and what we're going to work through together. So I'm going to send you a link to go to my art portal, or if you prefer, you could just go to my website and there's a little link that says browse graphics. You can click on that and you can select design. So the end user experience, they're going to go to the art portal. Over here, I've created some galleries of specific files. So I created a little gallery for family reunion design. So if I wanted to, I could just send them over to the family reunion design gallery and just kind of limit their choices based on that. And this is kind of what you would call for lack of a better word, a curated collection, where I've just kind of pre-selected some designs and they can go in and access those. The other way I can do it, got to put my email address in here. So I'm capturing a lead right now. So the other way they could do this is simply by going and doing a search. If they go this route, if I comment or approve and I've entered my email, I'm going to know that they've commented or approved on this design, any kind of interaction they had, because they had to enter their email on this basis. In this particular case, I have full approval authority here. So the way I set this art approval up, I set it up with approval authority. I'd probably want to go back and reset that so it's a generic page where there's no commenting or approving. And that would probably make a little bit more sense. But what we're going to do is we're going to come back here to the main portal and we're just going to do a search and we're going to type in reunion, or what we could do is just go down here to category and select events and go into the family reunion category. But we're just going to kind of select a design and I'm going to keep it kind of simple. And then we're going to go and localize and modify this design for this particular event. And one of the things about family reunion designs, you know, it's kind of a summertime thing, right? A lot of times you're dealing with a wide variety of sizes of people. Like for instance, if you're doing our family reunion, you're going to deal with infants all the way up to, you know, maybe 5X people. And so being able to, you know, really localize that design in a production process, depending on the products that you're producing, across sizes for wearables is actually a pretty handy thing. So we're going to go in and just pick a design here, and then we're going to customize it. So let's say our family reunion is going to be held in Park City, Utah. I'm going to go over here, I'm going to click on this design, and then the customer is going to enter in what they want it to have it say. So they're going to say, Mertens, can you change this to Mertens family reunion. Park City, Utah, 2022. We want red, white, and blue colors, right? So they would go in there and they would add that item. And then what they would do is they'd check out. So they'd submit that design request. And there's kind of two use cases for this. Use case number one is this is just a random lead that came in, and it gives us an opportunity to make a sale. We're going to reach out to that customer. We're going to ask them some additional questions, whether that's via email or maybe even a phone call or a Zoom meeting. And what we're going to do from there is we're going to develop the graphic, and we are going to get an order from them. Of course, we want to have the conversation about pricing and minimum order quantity as well. So this is getting submitted as a design request. The customer is getting a confirmation. They're also getting an email that says, hey, thanks for submitting this. And as the person that's going to be doing the customization, I've just received an email with a link to the design request, and so I can go in and process it. So I'm going to go over here and we're going to see, okay, what's going on here. So we've got a design request came in from this guy. I'm going to assign that to a person. So I'm going to assign that to this person right here. Put any notes in here. This is for PO 2357, Mertens family. There we go. And that's going to send a little email and save the notes. And then let's take a look at the notes here. It says, can you change this to Mertens family reunion? That looks pretty easy. First things first, I'm going to create an art approval out of this. And the art approval is how I'm going to get it back to the customers. So Mertens family reunion. Let's go ahead and create that art approval. And then that's how we're going to get it back to the customer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to download this graphic into one of two programs. I'm either going to use Adobe Illustrator or I'm going to use CorelDRAW. Why those two programs? Those are the two industry standard programs in our industry for professional graphics. And in order to produce professional graphics, I have to have a professional graphic feature set. And so some of like the online programs and the programs that you see that are kind of some of the simpler programs don't necessarily support the feature set to really do some things that are kind of dynamic. And we can kind of play around with this graphic, and I'll show you what I mean here in a little bit. And so if we're using consumer level programs, we're limited to the feature set of these consumer level programs. There's a reason that professional graphic designers use Corel or Illustrator, is it's a very rich feature set for customizing. And from my perspective, CorelDRAW is a much easier program to learn than Adobe Illustrator. I've been using Illustrator since 1988. It's still a challenging program for me to utilize, where Corel, I've been using it since 1996 and pretty much a whiz in Corel. Because I have extra tools inside my CorelDRAW that kind of automate and simplify the design process, and you'll see that here in a second. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to download this file, in this case, into CorelDRAW. And when the file pops up, what we're going to do is we're going to do some customization. So this is live text. This is a vector-based graphic. So if I go to View and I go to Wireframe View, I can see all the elements within this design. The other thing that we can do in this design is we can modify the text. And you'll notice the word Colorado right here is done in multiple layers. And so what we're going to do is we are going to change all of those layers at once. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to use this feature set over here from a program called Smart Designer. Smart Designer is an add-on software for Corel, and it's going to automate and simplify a lot of the processes in terms of modifying this design. So first thing we're going to do is just going to edit the text here, and we're going to get a little list here that says all the text, and we're going to change this to Park City, and we're going to spell it right. There we go. And then over here, we'll put the dates for the event, and this is going to be, they waited till the last minute, August 2022. Don't you love it when customers wait till the last minute? You know, and one of the reasons that, your clients are going to these websites to research and develop graphics is, you can't necessarily give them, an alternative. And so, this is the alternative where we can, provide them with a set of resources where they can select their own graphics. And we're going to go over here where it says Johnson, and we're going to change that to Mertens. And, if there's an element in here I don't really want, we can just get rid of it. This is just a design element. I can get rid of that design element, and now we just have this. And it's a vector-based graphic, so if I want to, and we want to make something bigger or smaller, we can do that. If we wanted to add an arc to this, we could do that. We have a lot of options in terms of modifying this design, but one of the first things that we want to do here is we want to get the colors modified. Now, if you're getting customer supplied artwork, a lot of times that customer supplied artwork is going to be in a variety of color palettes and models. Could be process color, could be a possibility of being in CMYK, could be Pantone colors. One of the things that we would normally do if it was customer supplied artwork is I'd always want to convert it to Pantones. So if I go over here and click convert to Pantone colors, we can convert all the colors and file to Pantone matching system, which is the industry standard system for for color matching to, a company will have a Pantone number for their color, and we know that number, we can recolor that. But also, there's other palettes that have a wider color gamut, such as the Pantone Go palette over here. And so if you're doing sublimation or even, white toner printing or any kind of digital process, one of the things that we provide is color charts that you can print out. You can go to that chart, you can transfer that onto a product, maybe it's a vaporware t-shirt. And once you have that color printed out, you know exactly what that color is going to print like. And then you can go to that chart and select the color and then recolor. And so I'm going to show you how we can globally recolor this design. I think the blue is fine. We might want to change the blue a little bit. So I'm going to go down here and I'm just going to say swap colors. And we're going to swap that blue out with, say, Pantone 289. So it's going to type that number in. We're going to hit OK. So it's going to recolor that blue. It's a little bit deeper blue. Where the orange is, we're going to go over here. And we're going to swap that out with, I think we're going to swap that out with 032 red. Pretty popping red there. That looks good. And then where this light blue is, I think I'm going to make that white. So that's kind of a teal blue. And we're just going to make that white. Drop that out. Well, we've made it white and we lost some of the colors here. Maybe make that more of like we can actually make that like a powder blue. So let's go over here and make that like a powder blue. So we'll come over here, make that powder blue. Yeah, there we go. And then I think I'm going to do a little bit of manual coloring on this. And let me show you what I mean by that. I'm going to take my dropper right here. We're going to drop that color in right here, drop that in right there. And then where the Park City is, we're going to make that white. So I'm just going to drag my white over there. And there we go. We got our color scheme. Probably on these mountains, let's make those mountains white as well. So I'm just going to use color swaps. I don't want to have to select anything. There we go. So there's our color. From here, we have a lot of latitude in terms of what we can do in terms of personalizing and customizing this. So maybe I didn't really like this shadowing effect, and we want to do something a little bit different. So we want to get rid of that. Maybe we want to put a little arc on here, which we could certainly do. I'm just going to go into the Smart Designer Docker, and I'm going to go down over here into Effects, and I'm going to select an effect. And the effect I'm going to select is called an arcing effect. So I'm just going to put a flat top arc on that. I'm just going to move that up there and see how it's creating that arc. That's Smart Designer doing that. And then I'm going to make that a little bit smaller. And then we're going to apply a text effect to that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here to Outline Effects, and I'm going to go to a Printing Text Effect, and we're just going to apply an effect to grab kind of a dynamic kind of a look to that. Now, one of the effects that's kind of fun for one of these would be more of a traditional effect. So we'll come down here and we'll do like a traditional drop shadow effect. And let's see, we're going to use in the outline color, I think we're going to use that light blue again. So we're going to go down here and we are going to just click on Park City and hit apply to create that little effect. So it's created that dynamic text effect. And I'm going to change the spacing a little bit of my outlining and make that spacing a little wider. So I'm just going to come over here and increase that spacing just by putting a new parameter in there. And we'll just hit apply. And then there's our effect. From here, we can really go crazy. So if we wanted to maybe add like a bevel effect to give it a little kind of a 3D pop, or we could do like a white highlight effect, we can do that too. We have all these different effects that we can apply. So I'm going to come down here. I'm going to go to a different set of effects. And if I want to do a bevel, I could just go down here and say, hey, let's just apply a bevel effect to that, give it a little dimension. And then on top of that, let's add a highlight effect. And then we've got that little bit of a highlight. So we've brought this to life with the 3D effect. If we're doing a digital process, these are kind of some of the fun types of things that you can do. And we might want to add a bevel. I don't know if I'm going to like a bevel over here. We'll see if we like it or not. Nah, not crazy about it over here. We're going to keep that the same color. So we've got the design all set up. Everything's ready to go. One thing we want to do is save it. So I'm going to go over here and do save as, because the original is the one I downloaded. And we'll create a little folder on our desktop. So we're saving a copy with save as. And I'll just call this Condi right here. And then what we're going to do is name it Mertens Family Reunion. And then we can put together the different products that we'd be utilizing for this particular project. So maybe it's a vaporware t-shirt, maybe we want to do some mugs. And the way I would do the mock-up, I could go to the Condi website, I could download the Condi templates, or what I could do is I could go in and I can go to the virtual sampling feature in Smart Designer, in which case I already have a Condi folder set up, and I've already downloaded some of the product links here. And so if I go into my Condi folder, let's say we want to do this little vaporware t-shirt, we could do that. Or maybe we want to put this on just a generic t-shirt, maybe with a mug. See, we'll go to my hydration category here. Let's see here. There we go. I think I got a mug in. Yeah, there we go. So we're going to pop that on a mug real quick. We could do a tumbler as well. So there it is on a mug. And then we'll save that. Call that mug. And then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to put it on just a generic t-shirt. So I'm going to go back into virtual samples and maybe go into my Sanmar catalog. That would look pretty cool on a cat, wouldn't it? Get that digitized into embroidery. All right. And let's pick a different color. That might actually look pretty good on gray. So let's try it on a gray. So we'll pop it onto gray there. Now, if you're doing sublimation, you're not going to be able to do the white part of that. If you're using like a white toner printer or getting a transfer done, but actually I think that looks pretty terrific right there. But we can certainly do it on white as well. It's kind of up to us. And let's switch that out with a performance wear t-shirt in white real quick. So like a vaporware. There we go. Probably want to make it a little bit smaller. All right, so let's save it. Again, save as, we're saving a copy, and we're going to call this Mertens Family Reunion Performance Tee. Now, anytime you're going to do anything for the web, what you want to do is save it as a PNG or a JPEG file. PNG is a better choice. It's a web-enabled graphic, but because it supports transparency, meaning you can have a transparent background, which is going to give me the ability to change colors in terms of presentation. And I'll show you why that's important in a second. So I'm going to save these files using the export function of Corel. I'm going to go back to my Condi folder, and we're just going to save the exact same file as a PNG. I'm going to hit export, and then what I'm going to do is make sure that transparency is selected. And you'll see why that's important in a little bit. We'll do the same thing with the mug. And then we'll do the same thing with just the core graphic. So we've got everything we need to get it back to the customer. Really super important, because what we're doing is we're engaging the client in this creative process. They picked out the design. We personalized it for them. We spruced it up a little bit with some text effects, which should probably knock their socks off. And we're going to get this back to them so they can approve the design so we can move forward with the order. And if you think about it like this, if you're engaging the client in the creative process with the graphics first, they're not going to be so focused on price, because they know they can only get that design and that graphic from you. You're personalizing it. If they go in and design it themselves on one of these websites, you know, they can screen grab that and they can take it to anybody to have it produced. So we want them to come through us, and that's helping you to become a creative resource to your clients. And so few people have that, you know, the graphic design skills in our industry. You know, most people are self-taught, and they're, you know, not coming from the graphic design end of things. You don't have to. There's tools and resources available software that simplifies the design process, stock designs, the ability to get a design in front of a customer and get the order finalized is a huge advantage for you, because all things considered equal, companies that have the better graphics in the industry are going to ultimately be more successful. And it's not always about getting new customers, that's important. It's also about retaining your customers. And one of the things that I've seen in the pandemic is, hey, if you don't make it easy for people to buy from you, they have a lot of choices now. People that normally wouldn't have shopped online, started shopping online during the pandemic, and all of a sudden that's a preference for them. So making it easy for a client to pick out the artwork is a huge advantage. So you guys remember we created that art approval? That's right here. We're going to click on the art approval. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add those graphics to the art approval. So one way that I would do that, one of the questions that we had pre-conference was, how do I store my art? I'll show you how I store my art. I use my GraphicsFlow account to store it. And I'm not so super concerned about the file names, and I'll show you why. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to upload. Actually, we're just going to upload that whole folder. So we're going to go over here to that Condi folder that's on my desktop, and we're going to select that folder, and we're going to upload the whole thing. And it's going to upload all the graphics in there, and it's actually creating previews of the CorelDRAW files as well as the PNG files as it's uploading. So we've created that upload here. And then once it's uploaded, I am going to rename it. So I'm going to go over here, and we're going to rename this. We're going to call this Mertens Family Reunion. And all of the art collateral for this particular project is now in Mertens Family Reunion folder, and it's searchable. So if I need to search and I just want to type in Mertens, there it is, Mertens Family Reunion, super easy to find. And then the other thing I could do is I could tag all these files, and we're just going to come over here, and I'm going to edit these tags, and I'm going to put in the word Mertens as a file tag. So in the future, if I need to find these files, I don't have to be drilling down through directories and subdirectories. I can just type in Mertens, and then I don't have to worry about where these files are located. I can just type in Mertens. There's all the files for Mertens. What I want to do is I want to take this file right here. I'm going to select it, this file right here, and this file right here, and I want to add them to that art approval, because these are the high resolution PNG previews. So I'm going to say add to art approval. Here's my art approval right here. So Mertens Family Reunion, we're going to add it. And this is how we're going to present the artwork to the client. And so if I go back over to my art approval, here's the artwork just sitting out, chilling in the approval. I don't necessarily need to include the original design. I'm going to delete the original. I don't need to include it. I'm just going to go ahead and delete it. And I'm going to reorder these. So I'm just going to put this design down here, and then the core design right here. This is where that transparency is really handy, because I can go in here on this file, and if we want to, change background colors and maybe show what this looks like on gray, we can do that right in the app. And if we don't trust the customer, we can go in and jam a watermark on this file. And in this case, it's a dark watermark, but I can switch that over to light. And so when I can change the transparency level of that as well, if I don't want the watermark, I'll just say none. And so we've got our little presentation set up. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bounce this over to the customer. How are we going to do that? Simple. We're going to share it. So I would go over here and invite collaborators. And a couple things that we could do. Number one, if I put the customer's information in here, then I can send it to that customer and limit their ability to interact with the file. I could say, hey, listen, you can comment and approve, you can just comment, or you can just view. So I basically am choosing what they're able to do. Now, if I say can just view, this is where I could use this particular art approval for just generic purposes. Let's say we created that gallery of family reunion designs. In that case, what I would do is I would use the shareable link, and I would grab the view only shareable link, and I would sit here and copy that and put it in an email. But in this case, we're going to actually send this to the customer. They're going to approve it. I'm going to give them the ability to comment and approve. We've sent them an invite. They have an email. They click on the email. They're looking at the art approval. They can make comments. and they can say, hey, listen, can this go on black? Wow. We want it on black. That changes the entire collection. It changes the entire, scheme, so to speak, because we have to use a different process. We have to either get a transfer made, or if we have a white toner printer or DTG. I might not have those capabilities, but I might have the ability to outsource a transfer, or I might have a white toner printer. So in that case, boom, I can do it on black. So they sent me a message, and I would just say, sure, there will be a $5 upcharge. $5 upcharge, as we need to use a transfer process. Refresh your browser. All right, boom. So we sent that comment to them, and I'm going to race against time because I'm just going to go and change this to black real quick. Okay, so there they go. Maybe they want to go that route. And so this is how we collaborate with the customer. They get it all set. They want to approve it. Approved. Approve this on white. And they're going to approve this on black to verify the t-shirts are on black. So that's right in the comment. And so they have a copy. They have to click on your terms. And one of the terms is saying, hey, you can't take this to other vendors. And on other terms says, hey, colors are going to maybe look a little bit different. So they're going to approve the artwork. This art approval is a web page that's in space, so they can access this anytime they want. It's locked now because we've been in approval, so they can't go back and change comments. And if there's any discrepancy about the graphics file, you can go back and say, hey, listen, when you approved this, you actually put a comment in that said, hey, just verifying this is on black because we shipped you black. So, they come back and say, hey, we really wanted it on white. This is how professional companies interact with their customers. We're doing this in training mode, so I'm taking my time to explain this, but this whole process would have taken less than 10 minutes if I was doing this in a production mode. Obviously, you have to get trained and kind of learn how to do it, but it's not a complex process because we're leaning on Smart Designer inside of Corel to do the heavy lifting on the graphics. We provided the customer with the stock graphic already, and now what we're going to do is just take this file and turn this into an order. And then ultimately, some of the things that we can do is if I have an e-commerce platform, let's say Inksoft or a similar e-commerce platform, make it super easy for these people to purchase their products by setting up an e-store. So they could go to an e-store to purchase their products. So maybe they'd go to here, see if I've got a good e-store for you. Web stores, here's one of Mark Heiss's stores. So set up a simple little e-store and make it easy for them to purchase the products, run that store for 2 or 3 weeks, collate all the orders. Once the store is closed, produce the artwork, produce the products, bulk deliver that to the client. They distribute that at the family reunion. Just made it super easy for them to buy. The key to doing this is getting them to promote it through their social media. Our little town in Wisconsin where my parents grew up, Dorchester, had their 150th anniversary. My cousin, who is in Medford, Wisconsin, did a little store for our 150th reunion, and they're still selling the product. And the reason they're able to still sell the product, even though the event is closed, they got transfers made up. So they have some extra transfers. This is an applique, so this is done on her embroidery machine. She can just keep producing these as the orders come in. I didn't place an order. I'm going to place an order. I was kind of busy. But this is how you make it easy for people to buy. And so this store is evergreen, meaning it's continuing after the event because there was people that didn't get to attend the event, like me, that I'd like to have a Dorchester t-shirt. A lot of good memories there. I was at the 100-year anniversary. I remember that when I was 5 years old. It's pretty wild. All right, so that's the entire workflow. We're going to do another project real quick here, and we're going to do just kind of a fun little Christmas project. And I'm going to incorporate some bitmap elements into this one, and we're going to do this kind of at production speed. And so what I would do, I'm going to go to design ideas, and I'm going to type in Christmas, and we're going to do a little, maybe we could do a little Christmas tree ornament design. and we're going to incorporate a photo into that. So I'm just going to type in Christmas. I'm going to select a design, and this would be an example of me putting together my product line for Christmas. So instead of having a specific customer, I'm putting together a product line of Christmas ideas to show customers what my capabilities are. And we can certainly do that based on the prospective opportunities within my community, or maybe we're going to do craft shows, but I'm just getting ideas in front of customers. And so one of the things that I think adds a lot of quote perceived value to a design is being able to incorporate something that's personalized into it, like a photo. And so what I ended up doing for this one, we're going to choose this design right here. We're just going to download it, and then I'm going to take an element of this design and add a photo into it. And so same thing, template opens up. This one happens to have a weathered overlay on it. Don't really need that for our particular design. We're going to go over here, and we're going to do the text changes over here. So we're just going to go over here to edit text again. And let's see here. Actually, we don't really need to change the text. We can just leave the text as is. But the part I do want to change in the design is this right here. So we're gonna get rid of this right here, and this is where the photo is going to go. And because this is vector art, I can do cool things like make that bigger, right? So we can make that bigger. I can ungroup the little snowflakes, give this a little bit of space over here, and then the photo is going to drop in right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a circle in Corel. If you hold your Shift and your Control key down, you can draw a perfect circle. I'm just going to make that yellow for now. And we're going to kind of superimpose that over that. I can turn the fill color off, actually. Just going to left click to turn the fill color off. And I'm going to use my arrow key to kind of center that a little bit. And we're going to make it slightly smaller, so it's just matching the circle right there. Okay. This is going to be my kind of placeholder. I'm going to right click on that to give it a white outline. I'm going to click on the little outline tool right here, and we're going to thicken that outline up right here. I'm going to set the outline to scale with objects. So if we scale up or down, the outline is going to scale. And then what we're going to do is we're going to import a photo. Now, one thing I might do with this is, again, maybe change the colors real quick. So again, that process of changing the colors, I'm going to go into the template. Maybe I'm going to use colors from my Pantone Go chart. It's kind of up to me. I'm going to say edit colors. If I need to convert this to spot colors, I don't need to do that. It's already spot colors. But if this is customer supplied artwork, that's another little extra step. Whoops. And we're going to take this color right here, and we're going to swap that out with a different green, and probably go with something a little more along the lines of like a forest green in there. And let's see here, maybe about right there. Yeah, that's a better green there. And then this is where the photo is going to be. So I'm just going to use the import function of Corel to import the photo. And then I'm going to use power clipping to put this photo inside this little ring. So watch, I'm going to right click and drag. I'm going to see the little bomb site. I'm going to release my right mouse button, hit power clip, and we can power clip that photo right directly in there. And if we want to make adjustments, we right click on the photo, say edit power clip, and we can move it within here, get it exactly where we want, hit finish, and we're done. There you go. And if we're putting this on an ornament, and let's say that ornament is we'll go ahead and resize this real quick. This is the beautiful thing about vector graphics. Guess what? You can resize them. They don't lose any quality. And maybe we'll go over here and create our little ornament. And if you hold down take your shape tool, see how you can change the corners there? So you can do what's called corner rounding with your shape tool. Just grab the corners and you corner around that. There's your little template. Put that right over here on your design. You know, if it's got a little hole here where the little Christmas tree hook anchor goes there, you could put that in there. And then there's our little mock-up. So same exact concept. But now we've got our design. And here's the thing, this is vector art. So if we come over here and we want to, stretch this out or whatever we want to do, let's move this back in the object order. So it's a little bit easier to select all this stuff. If we want to take all of this and we want to stretch it, we can do that, because guess what? This is vector art. So, stretch that out, make it a little bit bigger, move that down, recolor it. We have all the flexibility that we would ever want in order to modify this design. And frankly, if you just wanted to get rid of all this other stuff in here, you could just get rid of all of this and just have the wreath. It's up to you. That's the flexibility of vector art. Just come over here, take the wreath, make that bigger, probably switch that. We probably could switch that over to more of a circular ornament if we wanted to, but there you go. So there's our little fun little Christmas project. So I think we're at kind of at the time where we're going to open it up for questions. And I understand it's kind of a whirlwind tour here. We've kind of seen, I'll kind of recap a little bit what we did, but you've seen a lot of technology. So recapping, I use my art portal to facilitate the client selecting the design. I use stock artwork in the form of fonts that were part of GraphicsFlow. There's 444 fonts that are built into it. All the fonts are live in all the templates. We downloaded a template. I didn't switch out any of the clip art. I could have done that. Library of clip art. We localized that design to make it personal and specific to the customer using their color theme that they requested and the copy they requested. We spruced up the design by giving it some more dynamic text to give it a little bit of a 3D effect. We created a virtual sample on some products. We upsold them on a mug, which was likely not in the original plan. When we showed it on a mug, we could do other products to upsell them. We created a presentation using the art approvals function. In GraphicsFlow, we collaborated with the customer by adding their email and sending them a link to view it. They made some choices and commented on some changes they'd like to see. We finalized the design. We approved it. Hopefully, we have the ability to have an e-commerce situation, because for a family reunion, that's absolutely perfect to do an e-commerce so everybody can get their shirts ordered. That's the whole modern workflow. And the thing that you will find using a modern workflow is your customers are going to appreciate that, because you just made it so simple and easy for them to purchase from you, versus, hey, go to the internet, find something that you like, and then I'll try to do something like it. When they go to the internet, guess what else they find? They find other vendors. And we don't want them to go to other vendors. We want them to purchase through us. So, all right. So let's open it up for questions.
All right. Thank you, Craig. That was amazing. So I do have quite a few questions. But first off, what are we giving away during this session?
Yeah, so we're going to give away a 1-year subscription to our GraphicsFlow platform. GraphicsFlow is a membership, and we're going to give away a 1-year elite membership to one lucky attendee on the live web event today. So did you do the drawing yet, Sprite?
I have. So the winner is actually Ruth Hampton. So
Excellent.
So Ruth, if you would email me, please, swood, SWOOD @condi.com. And yeah, I will forward you along to Craig, and you will have a 1-year subscription to Graphics Pro. So we do have quite a lot of questions.
Real quick, Ruth, you'll actually go through a formal onboarding and training process. So you'll have an account manager assigned to you that'll do your onboarding. We need to make sure that you have CorelDRAW or Adobe Illustrator. If you don't have Corel, we can help you out with that. That's a subscription. So there's a whole process of getting you onboarded and helping you to be successful. So that's another additional benefit you have. So back to you, Sprite.
Okay, let's see. We have a lot of questions, so I'm going to try to get to as many as I can. We have about 6 minutes left, so let's see.
Okay.
I have to go through all of them. So someone asked, can we use our original designs, or do we have to use the images from GraphicsFlow?
Most people use a combination of both. So with Smart Designer, you can use any design that you want, anything that you create. A lot of times people will use like elements that they've collected from the client of their own graphical elements and combine them with text and design layouts through their GraphicsFlow platform. So for instance, maybe you have another image you want to substitute here for the mountain, or maybe put a photo in, a good one to put a photo in as well. So it's completely up to you how you incorporate our content or your own content.
Let's see. So I had someone ask, do you consider this beginner friendly?
Most of our clients have no previous experience doing graphics. And if you noticed when we were doing the editing of the design, the features that I used in Corel, I used the pick tool to select things. I used the zoom tool to zoom in. I didn't even use the text tool. A lot of times people type in their own text. And I did use the ellipse tool to create the circle where we put the photo. I was using no other features of CorelDRAW. All of the other work that I was doing was using the automations of Smart Designer. I didn't have to learn the steps to do the arcing. This particular text effect, in all candor, I don't have the production skills to recreate this exactly this way on my own with the bevel effect and the highlight. I just pushed a button on a feature and had to do that. So it's very beginner friendly. And frankly, most of our clients, when they start, don't have previous experience doing graphics.
And you did say that there will be an onboarding session for the people that purchase this, correct?
Yeah, so every client gets assigned an two people, an account manager, as well as a support technician. So if you're doing Smart Designer, we'll actually schedule an installation and get your software all set up for you. If you're using Adobe Illustrator, you already have some knowledge and experience in that, so we don't necessarily need to do that. And then also a training. So we'll do a one-on-one training. Then you have a help desk. If you run into trouble with the graphic, you can reach out to the help desk. You can schedule appointments with them. And then we do classes. Every Friday we do graphics classes, and they're free to our members. And one of the things that's nice about them, they're all recorded. So you can go back and watch the archive. There's about 170 hours worth of archived webcasts, including the ones we do with Condi Systems.
And what's your YouTube channel?
YouTube channel, you can just go to graphicsflow.com, and you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see a link to all of our socials, including YouTube. So if you just go to graphicsflow.com. So some of the YouTube classes are available to the public. On the YouTube channel, those are all public, and then there's also all the private classes, which are for members.
And what is the cost for the subscription?
Okay, so all of the Condi people are going to be on a special coupon code. So if you sign up for a GraphicsFlow account, the starter account is $99 a month. And I'll kind of go over the different plans here. So actually, I can do it this way. Just realize that. Go to my account settings, plans and billing. We don't have any contracts. The basic plan is $99 a month. You get 5 team members, 25 gigs of storage, 100 stock downloads a month. We have a pro plan that's kind of in between, and then we also have an elite plan over here. All the Condi folks are going to get upgraded to an elite plan for 12 months, 20 team members, 500 gigs of storage, 300 stock downloads per month, private branding on your art approvals, so it doesn't mention GraphicsFlow on there. You get Pro Graphics Collection, which is a enhanced collection of artwork from our Graphics Builder series, the entire series, and then you get the art portal. So the two big differences over here is the enhanced artwork collection and the art portal. So this plan at this price for $99 a month, no contract, sign up. If it's not working for you, obviously we're going to try to diagnose that, but there's no contract. You sign up, people sign up, and it just completely transforms and changes the way they conduct their business. So that's how it works. So there's a special promo code for Condi, CONDE. If you're interested in signing up for GraphicsFlow, what I would suggest doing is just email me directly. You can email me at Craig, C-R-A-I-G, Craig, C-R-A-I-G at graphicsflow.com, and then we can set up a demo. You can also go to the main GraphicsFlow page. You just need to make sure you identify yourself as a GraphicsFlow or Condi member. And you could do a demo request there as well. Request demo right there.
Well, fantastic. Thank you so much, Craig. Thank you for kicking off our open house. This was great. You had about 438 people attending. So
fantastic.
Congratulations. And congratulations to Ruth. Ruth, just email me, swood@condi.com. And Craig, once again, thank you so much. And I'm sure we'll see you soon.
All right. Thank you so much for having me. All right. Take care,
Bye.
guys. Okay. Bye.